permission.
Here, I've got a recording on this side, so I'll send you the
Okay.
when it's done.
Okay.
I think there's an opportunity there to kind of write some material, or maybe look at stuff you haven't done in a while that would fit into the category. Kind of acknowledging that, hey, different comedian. Now you got to get used to me. I'm here to see Rocky
Hold on,
too.
I have to let my dog out and never let him back in. Where are you? Oh, did you want to go out? Here. Oh, just go. Your custody time. Stupid dog. All right.
But
oh my gosh.
There's, even for me, and I've done it forever, I like to get right into the jokes and just kind of like bring them on board and let them jump on the train. First joke, third joke, 10th joke, whatever, but the train's moving, And there's a lot of times where I should chill out and just soak in the environment a little bit more, do a few jokes about the location where we are, just some more general, just like you're meeting somebody for coffee. Man, it's a nice day out here, isn't it? And isn't this a cool place? Or it's my first time here. Or I've been here a lot. Here's a few things you guys should know about this place, and have a few jokes about that. A few jokes about gambling. Even if you don't gamble, you can do jokes about why you don't. You've got a husband and kids. That's as much gambling as you want to deal with in life. I dyed my hair today before the show and didn't know how that was going to go. That was that's a risk. But just kind of acknowledging the environment. I'll do a few shows in the casino every year, and there's always quick and easy jokes about, and sometimes I'll just say, depending on how much I know the guy that booked me at the casino, hey, either you guys are here to see me or you're trying to lose another $1,000 in the next hour or something like that. Yeah. Or if they're not responding, hey, you may not like me, but look, you haven't lost any, you only lost $12.50 or whatever the ticket price was.
Right.
Every game in the casino, there's a potential joke. I talk about, and I think a few other comics do something like this that I've heard, but, I came in here and, man, I'm not a good gambler. I lost money at the ATM machine. I was down 20, 40, 60, just like that, Or if you want to start a fight on the roulette table, just bring an extra pair of dice and throw them in there and walk by. Or, just whatever you can come up with as far as some of the games they have there, or the big jackpot they're having. Sometimes there's a car hanging from the ceiling when you walk in that they're going to give away that week. Just whatever's going on. But you could write 2 or 3 minutes of casino jokes and they'll come aboard, Now, again, you may not go back there for a while, or who knows how often you do.
I'm sure I'm not going back there for a while.
But you can even practice those jokes outside of the casino. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was doing a gig at a casino, do those jokes, and then you've got another minute, 90 seconds or 2 minutes you can pull from next time you're in that situation. And I would say, too, like with those younger folks that get their arms up, they're going to be at another show. Not those particular people, but there's going to be people like that at some point.
I know.
So how do you address that in a fun way and still keep control? You can almost slap them around a little bit and have some fun, but still be jovial. You know what I mean?
Right. So I did try something with like this one girl, because I did want to, I don't know, I kind of wanted to pinch her. So I don't know, I had I don't know, whatever the joke was, and I said, because I referred to her being young, I said, oh, you might have to Google that, because I say that there's a young person in the audience. If I have a reference like the Jetsons or whatever, I say, oh, you're going to have to Google that. And I said, I can tell because you still have the resiliency in your skin. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And, it was just, so I don't know. I had 2 shows on Saturday and they both went better.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Good. So thank God it was like, and I mean, when I came back in, Rocky's like, oh, you killed it, which I didn't kill it. You know what I mean? But I felt good. And I said, I know redemption, So thank God I left on that note, because I was feeling like, it's bad enough if you bomb, but if you bomb and somebody like took you, like, I just wanted to just die. You know what I mean? That was like the worst feeling, because he brought me there, and thank God he saw me, he saw me crush before, because I don't say that I crush very often, but I did this benefit with him and I crushed. Like I really did. I did really well. Thank God for that he saw that, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah,
You
he wasn't
know?
like, what's going on? He's like,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
he was a little bit, what's going on? Because I've seen her kill, but it was like by Saturday you had it back together, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, those shows.
Yeah. So
And
I think Thursday night I could have gotten the audience a little bit more if I wasn't so in my head,
mhm,
you know? But Friday, I really don't know what it was.
yeah.
I don't know, you
And,
know?
there's little things at play too, depending on how Rocky had his week set up there. Sometimes Thursday nobody pays to get in. And when that
Yeah.
happens, that's the worst, for everybody. Or if there's buy one get one, until
Right.
probably Saturday, as everybody's paying full price, they're more vested in it. So, not to say you can't win over those other nights, but there's already some built-in stuff that makes it a little bit harder to jumpstart things.
Right. I think that was a good point about, I need to connect with my audience. I think I need to do a better job of connecting with my audience right up front.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since I do a lot of hosting. So I should be able to do that a lot more. And
Yeah.
so, and play with the room, play with the people in the room a little bit. I mean, I'm honestly, I should be really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
That should be one of my strengths. So
Yeah, don't rush that part at all. And even really accomplished. Like, I don't know if you know Nate Bargatze, but he's a great comic. Nate.
yeah, he's
So
amazing.
he's exceptional. But I was talking to him recently, and he's like, sometimes I have a slow start to my show, and it's just because I'm trying to jump right into the material. So, but now he takes like 3 to 5 minutes of really almost saying nothing, just kind of looking around the room and, hey, how you doing? And it's real slow, but people are like, oh, he knows we're here.
Yeah. Oh,
And then when he jumps in, because I don't know, mentally I just want to get to the jokes, but there's some shows. Yesterday I did that show where the vice president was in town. And
Oh,
so
right. How did that go?
it went great. I got to meet him and shake hands. No pictures, but it was fun. But we had it was a closed show, so it was invitation only for the audience. And there was a lot of, politicians, a lot of, uppity people who they're there to see the vice president. And it's going to be, we were there for 4.5 hours. Wow. So, but I came out the first set and I was like, bang, 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 bang. And they weren't ready for it yet. Mm-hmm. And then when I came out for my second set, I did what I should have done the first set and said, oh, let's get to know each other a little bit. I didn't even worry about getting to material, but I did. And that really warmed them up. So like even yesterday, I just assumed that they're here in a showroom. There's lights, there's stage, there's a band, and they're ready to go, but they'd never been to the place before. Right. So I totally skipped the part of introducing them to the space and to what was going down. And, but as the day went by, I had like 8 sets yesterday, some half hour, sometimes 5 minutes, 2 minutes, just whatever they needed me. But as it went on, they just got to be more and more fun and relaxed. But I shortchanged them that first set because I was just trying to get right into it. So there's, you'll know when they're fully on board or that they're not going to get on board and then jump into material and see if that kicks it. But I think writing some things that doesn't look like material to them,
right? That's
kind of the key. Like where are you guys from? And just having some jokes, the small town joke, the town that's not that great joke, the bigger city than we are here joke, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you just have those in your back pocket. You go through as many as you need, then you get rolling.
Okay.
And for me, and I probably said this before, but if they're in a place where there's meals or it's after dinner, the easiest thing for me to roll into is hey, I just had dinner over at this place and go right into my cholesterol bit or something,
Right.
Because it still doesn't seem like I've started the show yet. It seems like I'm talking about today.
Right. Okay.
So there's some ideas as far as getting the show up and running,
Okay, that's good.
And then once they bite, you just take the train wherever you want to take it. But almost can't spend too much time acknowledging the audience.
Okay. That's really good advice because I think that's something I'm lacking.
Yeah, and I think once you do it more and more, you'll have more fun with it and look forward to it. Marty.
I have done that. They do jump on board more.
Yeah. Marty's pretty good at that, despite the fact he's kind of aggressive on stage with his material.
Who was
Gilmore,
that?
Marty Simpson.
Oh yeah.
He's pretty good at just like almost uncomfortable, like
Yes.
it's me and you right here, right now. It's just me, like.
Yeah.
But he explores that space, and he would rather explore that for 10 minutes than jump into his material, I think. And that's just maybe a personality thing, but it pays off for him because that's if he doesn't, he's so aggressive with his material. They're like, "What's this guy? He's a jerk." Yet he's trying to let them see before he says that he's a jerk that he can be a jerk.
Yeah. Right.
Something. I love Marty, but you know how he is.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, but he knows, and that's the smart thing about it.
That's right. And he uses that to its advantage. I gotta let my dog in. One sec. Come on, Goob. Let me get cute. All right.
You are looking at some of these jokes?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Where do you want to start at? I'll open it up.
Let's see. Should I start with my old stuff or new stuff?
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah, I want to see what you think of this concept. It's did I even print it? I printed out my stuff so I could mark it, but I didn't print that one because that would have made sense. But I can pull it up. It's Destination Funeral.
Okay. I got it up.
Okay. So I haven't even tried this at an open mic yet.
Okay.
It was just an idea I had. And so I'm trying to, this is like fresh on paper. So I just there's a lot of just ideas I kind of just wrote down. So it's not going to make, some of it's not going to make any sense at all.
When you say do something out of the box, did you intend that to be kind of funny?
Yes.
Not
everybody's going to get that.
Well, you could rephrase it so that they do.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We're getting older, so my husband and I were talking about what we want for our final arrangements. I would just say, he said, let's do something out of the box. And I said, no, I insist on a casket.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then he'd go, no, then he could be saying, I was thinking about a destination funeral. Or vice versa.
Yeah, okay.
Either way, but just make that joke really, casket's a funny word anyway.
Right, you're right.
You know what I mean? But I like that out of the box.
Okay. I know, because I thought of that, and I added that in out of the box. I'm like, that's funny.
It could even be funny, too. I mean, I'll just throw some ideas out, and you don't have to look at them all right now. But
okay.
If things were tight, and so you guys were thinking about something out of the box, he decided he'll be in the casket, and you're in the box that it came in.
That's funny.
And you're an environmentalist, or somebody's an environmentalist, so it's biodegradable or whatever.
Yeah. Because this is what, first I want, my whole thing is it's about me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, though, I want him to be able to take a pot shot at me. Do you know what I mean? I always to end it up like that. I kind of want it to be equal territory. Mm-hmm. First, of course, my persona on stage and my material is that I'm a little self-absorbed and, a little diva-ish, and I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything. Mm-hmm. But I'm all about shopping and most of that is all true.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Basically, it's all true. But I don't want it to be that I'm always taking shots at him. Mm-hmm. I also want it to come back on me that, I'm the one that, I never cook and he gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my jokes, and this always hits, on my marriage stuff, I say, I have to look it up. I've been doing it forever, but I said that, I was telling him how I wanted to buy one of those coloring books that they have for grown-ups. And he says, why, Rhonda? You're never going to use it. When's the last time you used your grown-up Easy Bake Oven? You know?
All right.
So, and that hits that always, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but really it's about me not cooking. It's about, you know, him trying to get me to cook because I'm so, you know,
Yeah.
self-absorbed or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just don't want it to be like I'm always picking on him, but I am.
Yeah.
But I want him to have the chance to get back at me.
Uh-huh.
So.
Do you have any, I mean, there is a third angle where you both have a mutual enemy, and so you're both zinging somebody else, like a salesperson or something like that, and you're kind of tag teaming and crushing that other person. If you ever want a third voice, so you're not always picking on your husband.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you could go in this, but you could go to a place that helps plan funerals, and the guy throws out the idea for the Bahamas, and you're all on board, and your husband's not. But you know, that way you've got an extra voice and an extra punchline. The rule of threes too, so you can say something, your husband say something to this guy. But let's look through it once, so I kind of see what you've got.
Okay. All right. Good.
I'll just read through it here, and if I got any questions, I'll.
Okay. Okay.
I like the wheel of inheritance.
I love that. Of course, I'm going to do Wheel of Inheritance. That's how I'm going to say it. Just so you needed to know that.
I like the Farrah Fawcett poster.
Yeah, that was actually from a writing group that I'm in. So.
Oh, that's funny.
That's all kind of just stuff I just wrote down.
Yeah.
None of that.
I like it. I think there's so the premise is really cool, and then I think you have at least two sides of it you can explore. Because for one to happen, well, it all depends on who goes first. You know, who dies first. So it's kind of like only one of these will be able to be executed, his plan or your plan. And if he has a plan, you know, I'm trying to see here. Everything you talk about on him, what if he had a wheel of inheritance on you?
Mm-hmm.
And then what would he be throwing up on? And you've got the poster of George Clooney or something, or whoever. If these are like childhood favorites, then you'd go back to like, I don't remember Sean Cassidy and all those, David Partridge. I don't know who the guy equivalent of Farrah Fawcett was back then, but you could flip it on that side. Yeah, so I think you just set up in the beginning. You're planning for if he goes first,
right?
So that they're clear that you know you'll be having a lot of fun without him, is what it sounds like. You know, or at least cleaning out the house.
Right.
You can even make a funny statement like, you know, and in case he goes first, and he will, you know, whether he knows it now or not, that's the plan, that he goes first. And if they grow and go, well, you could just say, well, women always outlast the guys or whatever. But and then that first line for him, he doesn't usually like to travel, so now he won't even care. I like it. I would just maybe rephrase it to something like, and actually, I think even before that, they didn't know what a destination funeral is in case they never heard that term before.
I know. I was wondering if I should add, like, you know, you've heard of a destination wedding, you know, so why not a destination funeral?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I should add that. Somebody said, well, then it gives the joke away. You don't even have to put that.
It depends. Like, I'd rather give it away so they got it instead of
I know.
make it vague to where they don't even understand. It's like the first time I heard rescue dog, I just thought it was a dog that works for the EMTs. I had no idea it was like from a rescue shelter.
Right.
And so I missed the whole 3-minute bit the guy was doing. I was just confused why this Dalmatian was so important to everybody.
Right.
So yeah, I would just put in a quick phrase,
Okay. Because
I'm thinking about doing something like a destination funeral, instead of a destination wedding, it's a destination funeral.
Right. Only fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The real beginning of a new life.
Right.
And it's, yeah, I almost think I wouldn't even worry about he doesn't like the travel line yet. I would make sure that we're talking about we're going somewhere. So the Bahamas drives home the point of what destination.
Okay.
Just flip those over each other.
Okay.
Or also, if you moved, well, I think a destination funeral could be a cool prize on the Wheel of Inheritance. Do you know what I mean? Because they always pull the vacation trips off of the spinning wheel on the Wheel of Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And this
How
sounds
would
like,
I get to there? Like, how would I get to there? Because at first I had like, instead of reading his will, because that would be boring, we could put all of his, prized possessions on a wheel, the Wheel of Inheritance. So I kind of had it like that.
mm-hmm.
I cannot say bring the Sharpie so everyone can write a message on the casket. I just can't do that. It's kind of funny, but it's like, I just can't. It's just so awful.
Well, bro, I think it's funny.
No, you think it's funny?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of signing a cast, and maybe he got into
Exactly. That's what I think of. Like, have a white one, like it's like a whiteboard or whatever, and everybody writes their bon voyage message.
Last week he signed his cast. Today, sign his casket on the Wheel of Inheritance. That's funny. Yeah, it'll take a few minutes to sort out the order of what comes what.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
And sometimes it just when you finally figure out where it's headed, you can rephrase the setup to accommodate it. Or even Wheel of Misfortune would kind of work.
Mm.
And you could you could have a setup that says something like, I was watching the Wheel of Fortune the other day and they were giving away a destination funeral. So then you're making fun of the Wheel of Fortune itself, and you have every single aspect of the Wheel of Fortune to pull from. And it's like, and Pat Sajak seemed really excited. He's like, yes, you and your recently deceased spouse can spend 8 days, 7 nights in the Bahamas. You and your closest friends, spread his ashes in the water on a 3-day cruise,
Yeah.
And of course, we'll top it off with a $1,000 gift card for the memorial shopping trip. Everybody buy a Sharpie so you can sign the casket,
Yeah.
That way you can do a voice of him, and then I don't know if you can get Vanna involved some way. But anyway, but then you had just the whole thing of it. And then maybe you have 3 people. This might be getting too way out, but you could have 3 people trying to win that prize because they all hate their spouse. So, I don't know. But I do like the idea of turning the whole thing into a weird Wheel of Fortune episode. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because then, you could be Vanna at some point, showing the different things, different prizes, turning letters. If you wanted to do a puzzle on it, you could even go that far if you wanted. But just the way they have those different prizes, the destination funeral sounds like something they would actually have. Like, it's a believable enough premise that they would have that on there. Then you could do a few jokes about.
Do you think it is a believable enough premise?
if it isn't, then you say, what's next? Are they going to start giving away destination funerals? And then you take it from there. I saw on Wheel of Fortune, they gave away a destination wedding. What's next? Destination funerals? Then you set it all up and go right through
That's a good setup.
it.
That could be a good setup.
Yeah, and then you have you can name the trip.
And then it's not about him.
Right.
So much.
Right.
It's just about the whole process.
Yeah, and you put him in there as much as you want, but there's all kinds of opportunities for different directions.
And
then I haven't really researched prices of funerals and all that stuff in a while, but I would do some Googling on that and find some terms and phrases that they use in the funeral business. All the different options they have at an actual funeral, the flowers, the vase if they get cremated, the visitation. Have your visitation at Tahiti Ranch, some kind of. Yes, everything is down until the announcer says the thing and it's up. And you can have your guest visit, and the visitation take place at a moonlight service on a 3-day.
Yeah.
So you constantly have that thing. So by the second and third one, the audience knows that the funny part's coming after the low down, before the big up.
Yeah.
Some vocal varieties is fun in there. What else would they have at if you had it at Atlantis in the Bahamas, then you've got the lost city of it. You've lost your husband, but you can lose him in the lost city of Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Bury him underwater, just like the lost city of Atlantis. Have his casket go down a 3-story slide. And have your visitation at a swim-up bar in the Calypso Cafe. There's a lot of fun stuff you could do in there. As the sun sets in life, as the sun sets on his life, you'll get glorious views at your 5th-story balcony. Yeah. There's so many funny things you do because you have the resort stuff you can pull from, the funeral stuff you can pull from, and the Wheel of Fortune stuff you can pull from. There's just so much in there. And to me, it's one of those, you just write all of it, and then you do it several times and just take the best of what came out of all the writing. Decide how long it should be after you get some feedback from the punchlines.
Yeah.
Then maybe you're not going to try out the whole thing the first time you do it. Just try out the concept
of a destination funeral. I don't know. When I thought of that, I just thought it was funny to me. It made me laugh.
It's really great.
And I haven't heard anybody else do anything like that.
I've heard nobody. I never even heard the term before you said it, so that's really cool.
But I kept thinking about all these people having destination weddings, and what are the reasons that they have them? They try to limit the guest list.
Yeah.
That way they can vacation at the same time with their friends.
Right.
So I just thought it was kind of funny.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I would write. What you have here all works too. If you want to go just a little simpler route, where you just giving away some of his things on the Wheel of Inheritance. But man, I think it's got a bigger potential. Yeah, it's two different ways you can go with it.
Right.
This all, I think, makes sense together, and we'll get some laughs. Why don't you try it out this way?
Okay.
But write for some of the other ideas.
Yeah.
And it may be that you can do almost all of this and use the Wheel of Fortune thing as like a second sub-premise where you could just take it a little bit further and then introduce all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the last tagline of this whole thing that you have now said, it actually sounds like something you'd hear on the Wheel of Fortune, a destination funeral, something like you'd have in the Bahamas, and just go with all the new stuff.
Yeah. So what would my setup be to start that off?
If we do the newer version or this version?
Yeah, the newer version.
The newer version. So if we did this stuff before it, I would, or even if we didn't, I would just say, it depends. It could be as easy as, I keep hearing about these destination weddings. I think it might be cool to have a destination funeral. Or and really your husband could come up with the idea. So like you're just playing along with his thing. So it's not like you're trying to bury him earlier than necessary. You know what I mean? My husband told me the other day that he got it. Let's see. I mean, I think it's just super simple. You could say, I got an invitation to a destination wedding. My husband joked, I wonder if they have destination funerals. And I started thinking, not a bad idea. We could take you to the Bahamas for seven days. You don't like to travel, but you won't even know. And then boom, 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 boom. Then you just tag it with it. It sounds like something you'd hear on the Wheel of Fortune. Destination funeral. If you win this, prize package, you and 8 of your friends will get to go to the lost city of Atlantis with your lost loved one. 8 days, 7 nights. Watch this casket go down.
Not all is lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all is lost.
Not all is lost. Gain back the years of fun you missed with your husband who wouldn't want to travel at the lost city of Atlantis. I think you put the casket down a water slide. I think you have if there's a casket, if he's cremated, you go feed the fish. Feed the fish. Turn a lost life into fresh food for fresh fish. If you charter a boat and go deep sea fishing.
This is what I can see someone coming up to me afterwards. I just lost my spouse. I should have done it this way. Right. I always oh my gosh, because how churches are. If you do it in a church, how they're so. Oh.
Yeah, and the preacher's probably the hardest one laughing the hardest, and everybody else is afraid to. Because
I think it's funny. I mean, and what I learned from watching Ross's his dry bar is, he talks about his dog, which I love this bit about Chester, poor curious Chester.
Yeah.
He talks about the lightning that he has.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, he goes, hey. He kind of stops. He goes, you guys are taking this a little bit too seriously. This is a comedy show. You know what I mean? And so, I know I can go to that if I have to.
Yeah, pressure release.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I just think I know it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous but funny to me. So then I did take your idea. What did I do with it? Did I even write it down? I might not have put it anywhere. I was trying to make sure I had all my stuff on paper, and I don't think I did. Because that way I can go back and look at it and see, try to change it this way or this way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I wrote it down. On the undercover boss, I don't even see it on here.
Let's see.
I don't see undercover boss anywhere.
I don't see it on what you emailed me.
Yeah. So what I did do is I just started off kind of I'm flipping through the channels. I'm like, how's the show still on? Undercover Boss, Remember
we talked about that at one point, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So I said, if you're one of the 3 people in the whole world that haven't seen this show,
right. That's good.
yeah. If a guy, this is how I just shortened the whole front end, and it's getting laughs. If a guy walks into your workplace with a fake mullet, a magic marker mustache, and he's being followed by a 6-person camera crew, you're an undercover boss.
Right.
And then I don't know how it needs work, but I say, I used the suggestion that you gave me, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to start my own show, Undercover Employee.
Mm.
You know, I just go in and start working in a place and see if they notice, you know.
Right.
So I gave my very first razor cut at Fantastic Sam's, and
that's great.
Yeah, I say, and spoiler alert, they recognized pretty early on that I didn't work there.
Right.
And then because I haven't built on it yet, but I'm like, and stay tuned next week when I start at Jiffy Lube, you know.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I know I need to like kind of explore that a little more and see where I can go with that, but I'm, you know, you get kind of like, ugh.
Well, with the razor cut, what if you say, the switchblade gave it away or something?
Oh, that's funny.
You know, just like, because when I was a kid, they had those switchblade combs that you'd punch like a switchblade, but a comb would pop out. But but actually going in there and like you're all gangster, you know, I had a switchblade.
That's funny.
Of course, you can't say it, but another thing that gave it away was you're completely straight.
Yeah.
She doesn't belong here.
That's offensive.
Yeah, like you didn't know any of the gossip, or like your chair was in the restroom. Like there were little giveaways that you weren't a real-time employee. Just have a seat right here. Yeah. Ignore the swirling sound. It'll stop after 3 minutes.
There's like I could have. Well, there was a few things that gave it away.
Yeah.
And list those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Idea. Then I can think of maybe because I had my chair in the restroom. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Or the switchblade that I used or something.
Yeah. I'm not sure which threw it off. Yeah, either or. I'm not sure what gave it away.
Yeah.
The fact I whipped out my own switchblade, or my chair was in the restroom. It was a little
Yeah,
odd.
I like that. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I like that. That's funny.
And then what can you do?
I'm doing like. Oh, go ahead.
I say, so if you took it to Jiffy Lube next week, maybe you could have 1 or 2 things you say in the preview. So join me next week when I start my first day at Jiffy Lube, where I find out blop, blop, blop doesn't mean blop, 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 or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like a little teaser like they would have on a TV show.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
When I find out 5W30 isn't a tax form or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got plenty of options with that.
I'll look at some of the terms or whatever, and I can definitely come up with something stupid that I would say because that's probably what I would say.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's funny.
That'll work.
Yeah. I know there's so many things that I'm doing, like a couple of impressions, and I have them together right now because I didn't know how to put them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think I could probably do better. I mean, I've got a few lines that are working. I don't know.
You just want to do it how you do it?
You
just want to say it how you say it now?
Okay, so I have it on. It's on health, the health page. It's at the bottom. Yeah. So I open it up with, so I'm laying in bed, it's 3 a.m. I'm thinking of all these crazy things. Like, what if they did a remake of The Wizard of Oz, but instead of Dorothy being stuck in Oz, she's stuck in Walmart? And just the setup usually gets like a laugh, because
Yeah.
like that's ridiculous. And then I say, and here's a preview of The Wizard of Walmart, or what that might look like, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of go into like, oh no, oh Annie, Toto, well, I don't think we're in Macy's anymore,
It's
because
great.
I've already touched on the whole Macy's. And this line usually hits. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, look, everyone here is in pajamas. And I
That's
just
great.
kind of like look around, and it works. And then I do, how like she does like, well, the dog food and diapers and diamonds, oh my. Well, no, Toto, those aren't real diamonds. Those are cubic zirconia. And,
Great.
which is okay, but that line could be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, this usually works because of the way I do it. I say, well, I have to find the wizard because Macy's is having a 1-day sale, and oh, they never do that. And so then I put the mic down and I go,
Right.
and like that usually gets a laugh. And then I just kind of click my heels together and go, there's no place like Macy's. And then if they don't do anything, because they don't know if they're there, like I like it if they don't respond more so than when they do,
Mm-hmm.
because then I just look at them and I go, this is where most audiences would clap.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love saying that line so much.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I make them clap,
Yeah.
because they don't know if I'm say more or not. So a lot of times they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually enjoy saying that. I don't want them to clap, so
Right.
I can say that.
That's funny. Do you know how? There's things you can do to let them know that the bit's over, though. Do you do any of those things to let them know?
Like bow.
Well, there are some like over the top, easy, in your face, better laugh or better clap now signs. But so when I do I had the Barney Fife bit, which is like 5 minutes long on my show, and they want to do an applause at some point. They're just kind of waiting. They're like, this was.
Yeah.
And if there's times where I know I should get it, and they're right there, but they don't applaud. So what I'll do, it's all about where they see the microphone. So if it's anywhere, half my chest up, they expected me to say something again. But if I pull it to the side and kind of take a breath, then they do. So it's just like a little visual, like, I'm not going to say anything in here. You guys go ahead and clap. This is the end.
Right.
Okay. And I learned that from watching a couple of guys, just because every night they were getting these big applause breaks, and really for no reason besides they were just telling the audience with their body language, now's the time to do it.
That's a good, because there's I act out this one bit, and I act out. I talk about if I have no sense of direction, and so there's certain jobs I would never be able to have. I'd never be able to be a tour guide. And I pause for a second,
Mm-hmm.
or an air traffic controller. And then I do like an air traffic controller bit, which I just decided on a new line that I think is going to work better. I kind of can't wait to try that out, because like the last line was kind of falling short. And then I do, my favorite is the weather girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to change that too. There's a line in there I want to change, but I do. So today's forecast, we are tracking a storm that's coming from, and then I kind of like just smile, like, oh. And then I go, the bottom.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah. But after each act out, it could get an applause break if,
Mm-hmm.
I handled it properly.
Yeah. And some audiences are just more savvy than others, with it. But if you give them a place, it's better than not give them the right place. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's a good way to just kind of put that down. Usually I'll just go right into the next one. Yeah, I like that. I had a line, I hope I wrote it down, because usually I say, and it's traveling up along the side,
Yeah.
I had a new line for that instead of the side, like traveling up along the side. I forgot what I said. And then I say, and then it will dissipate when it reaches. And then I use the local place, like the Warwick Mall, or I try to even like I've used the place that we're in, or the local popular place. I usually try to ask in beforehand, so that way that's bringing the audience in, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So they usually like that just because I said, "Oh, the Crystal Mall." It's like, "Oh, that's our mall." You know what I mean?
Right. People are possessive of their malls. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
A lot of emotional connections.
Yeah. So I try to use that. So, but yeah, I know I need to. I think definitely need to connect more with the audience. I think in the beginning of my show, instead of like trying to jump into my jokes.
Yeah. And it's every situation, you kind of got to feel it out. Sometimes you make the right choice. Sometimes, yeah, even I have to kind of figure it out. And there's really, gosh, sometimes when it's like been really loud or something, and it's hard to transition them into like focus. If you're emceeing, especially, sometimes quiet is even better than acknowledging the audience. Just kind of taking the microphone and just kind of waiting for everybody to settle down a little bit. Then the people who get what you're doing, you kind of wink at them a little bit. There's a million ways to start a show, but letting them know that what's going on is the key.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you've got opportunities there for sure. Now, I don't want to forget before that Wizard of Walmart thing.
Yeah.
So the dog food and diapers on mine, those aren't real diamonds. Those are cubic zirconia. You said you're looking for like another line.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's okay, but I think that could be better. I think there could be, especially after coming off of, because pajamas, I mean, I've gotten applause breaks on pajamas.
That's a really strong line.
I know. So it's kind of hard to follow.
I mean, you could, if you had something else, you could put it before pajamas and make pajamas to last. The big visual for Wizard of Oz for me is like when the witch's feet are underneath the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could say something like, "Oh, the witch, she got covered up by falling prices," or something like that.
Oh, that's cute.
That's her big slogan.
That's funny.
And then you could say, not just, was it the Scarecrow that had no brain? Or the Tin Man? I can't remember.
The Tin Man had no heart. Scarecrow had no brain because he was all over.
Yeah. Right. So, like, nobody has a brain in here.
Well,
Scarecrow, you're not alone.
I was going to say that early on. I had actually written a line like that, but it might have been towards the cashiers.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't. I don't know. Like, everybody's so like everything offends everybody, and it's like
it is trickier today than ever.
It's like so. Like, I'm so afraid of everything. Like, even that destination funeral thing, I'm like afraid of like doing that just so, because somebody's gonna get offended because somebody died. We all die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
there's offended because they're not in the Bahamas and they didn't think of it.
yeah.
That's what I would say to them. You're just groaning because you didn't think of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to try that out.
Yeah.
So then the Drew Barrymore, I just don't know how else to bring her in. So
let's see.
Because I'm doing the same joke basically. Just using Drew in there.
Uh-huh. That looks like it works. You've done that out loud and it works, right?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Do you think it's
I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah.
I just have no idea. I mean, it does work. And now I've trained them to clap afterwards. So
right.
They do.
I like the Wizard Walmart greeter line. That's funny.
Yeah. No, Toto, that's not the wizard. That's the Walmart greeter. Yeah.
That's a great impression.
They like the Whole Foods thing. So I mean, it does work.
Yeah. I don't know. All that looks good to me.
Okay. I mean, it's not that it's not working. I'm always just trying to, what could be even better,
Yeah. I like it. Everyone's here in pajamas is really just.
I know.
It's a great way of saying something without saying exactly it.
Exactly.
Because even the people that go to Walmart in pajamas are going to laugh because, like, she knows that they won't even know.
Yeah, you're not going to offend anybody.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't do, oh, look, everybody here needs a brain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I could.
What if the Tin Man was back in the whatever they call their automotive department, their lube center or whatever? Look, he's finally getting some oil,
The Tin Man.
Yeah, wasn't he Rusty? I haven't seen a wizard in 40 years.
He says, oil can.
Yeah.
You don't even know what he's really saying. He's like, oil can.
Right.
I don't know. That's something.
Yeah, you can say, let's get.
I don't want to make it like too long. I just want to like. The one day, like I keep going back to Macy's because like that's kind of my,
That's your thing.
I think I should be doing Macy's commercials is basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's something that could I mean, there's some that work all the time, like, and there's some I just need to change that aren't that great. Oh, you know what one? I don't know. It's not fabulous. I don't want to even look at it.
Well, let's look at that one. That sounds like it's gonna be fun.
I don't know. It's a hit or miss. It's on the kids. I don't use it all the time.
Okay. All right, I got it.
All right, so I just have to tell you this one. This one I usually have been starting with now about, they'll introduce me and I'll say, my whole life people have come up to me and just saying, help me, Rhonda, help. And it makes them remember my name too. So I do that intentionally. But I was saying like, I'm not helping anybody. You know what I mean? Which I thought was funny. But so I've tried it and that's like, it doesn't get a lot of laughs. So, but we've changed it to, but it's turned out way worse for my brother, Macarena. That's kind of working.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was I think I did like the punchlines one time, and I brought that there, and Robert G. Lee said you should change it. It needs a twist.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, all right. So yeah, so this is the one. And when you're a mom, you're automatically a nurse.
Yeah. Okay. There are people I don't know. So myself.
Some people don't even know what a tourniquet is.
Isn't that crazy? How they survive?
I know, right? I just don't know how they don't know what a tourniquet is, and I think it's a funny word, and I think that's a funny line.
Well, maybe you just do a quick line and say, some of you don't even know what a tourniquet is. You must have had great parents or something, you must have had a healthcare plan or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
Or you didn't have a trampoline.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. I'm going to write all this. I'll watch it back and write stuff down afterwards. Yeah. That way you can stop it. But like some people will get this, like I try to go through all of them. Like, I don't even want to talk about blood, bleeding, blood clots, blisters, bloating, blockages, bladder infections, bee stings, bug bites. And then I'll usually like stop And then I'll go bee stings, bug bites, bumps, bruises, bursitis, bronchitis, botulism, biopsies, broken bones, boils, bunions, bed sores, body odor, bad breath, broken bones, burns, back surgery, broccoli. I usually like to throw broccoli. It's like, yeah, I don't like smelly vegetables either. Cauliflower, cuts, corns, coughs, calluses, cataracts, conjunctivitis, colitis, kidney stones. And then I'll say, I know kidney doesn't start with a C, but I'm not a nurse, but I could write for Sesame Street. And this joke was brought to you by the letters B and C. So it works sometimes. Like they get when I'm going through the whole list, I mean, I've had somebody like just like keel over laughing, like they were just laughing so hard. And I've also like got crickets. So
yeah, it's one of those, it's a big buy-in. If they're in, they're all the way in. If they don't buy in, they're just like waiting for it to be over.
Yeah, that's a long joke for them to wait for it.
You know what I mean? Well, there's and when I was in the clubs all the time, the term for that was called a clap track. Like it's done to get applause at the end. Like then part of the applause is because you got all the way through it, and then the other half like it. We're like, finally, she's done. So,
yep, that's funny.
It's like there's a girl that took my class recently, and she memorized the entire McDonald's menu from 1986 and says it on stage. And when people get it, what she's doing, they love it. But if they don't, for anybody that was born after 2000, it doesn't mean anything to them. Right, so it's like it's just a weird thing. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's funny. It's obviously one I think you would do in a longer set, not a shorter set. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's if I have some time. Yeah. I did not do this at the casino, by the way.
Gotcha. Because all those people had all those things.
Yeah, probably. I did try a joke out. I tried this joke out. I said, well, it's officially pumpkin season. And, where's my pumpkin people at? Or, something like that. Yeah, you guys are crazy. And then I just say, I don't like pumpkin this or that. I don't like a pumpkin when I chat. I don't like pumpkin when it's iced. I don't like pumpkin when it's spiced. Not in a cup, not in a pie. Not with my friends, not with my guy.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't like pumpkin when I'm traveling. Or I don't like pumpkin when I travel. I think I'm starting to unravel. And then I just stopped and I said, this killed at the Dr. Seuss Comedy Club.
Yeah.
But,
I was Cat in the Hat Comedy Club.
Yeah. Cat in the Hat is funnier. Yeah.
Cat in the Hat Comedy Club. That's funny.
Yeah, I have a few of those. I think I'm going to throw in like for winter because I have a whole thing on winter. And so I have kind of that. And I think I'm going to try, throwing that stuff in. It actually kind of worked. I don't know. But, that was, a few chuckles anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially this time of year when everything is pumpkin.
Right. Pumpkin, so that's why I think I'll switch it. I hate pumpkin. Like, I hate pumpkin. I hate pumpkin everything. So, like, I'm writing from my heart. I can't stand pumpkin. And I'm not, like, all these things, like, I am, like, the worst person in the world to be a nurse. Like, all those things. You know what I mean? I'm just terrible. I don't like taking care of people. Just really don't.
I know. That's not my strong suit either.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
Well, I'm trying with this big long one, the blood clots, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason it doesn't work sometimes.
Okay.
Is because if we just look at where the twist is, the first twist, because if they don't get the irony of the fact that you don't like these things, but you can pronounce them fine, and you've got a whole list of things that you're comfortable saying, even though you don't like them, and that to me is funny. But if they don't get that, the first real surprise is broccoli, and that's pretty far down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you can't predict if they're going to get on board or not until you get through a bunch of it. Right. So you don't know if you should cut to the chase and say broccoli early or not. I mean, I guess if you feel like they're not coming on board, you could throw it in before you start the botulism biopsies, and cut it shorter. You still got blood clots, bladder, and broccoli. And that would save you, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds and get more people on board if that's what,
Yeah.
if they're waiting for a surprise.
Sometimes it's the timing. Yes, sometimes the timing, if I just kind of, they think I'm done and then I start again. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Like that, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. But yeah, it depends. It depends on the audience on that one, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. I don't use all of them because I don't remember all.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh yeah, I never say like burns or bone spurs. Like,
Right.
that's old. But anyway, I don't know. So I guess I should just go back through everything and just try to write, listen to some of my stuff again and see, what's working. I don't know. And then try to punch it up.
Yeah, I mean, you could take. One thing I know to be true is even my worst crowds and my worst shows, my best jokes still work.
Yeah.
So when I start thinking about if I've got a taping I want to do or a showcase, I'll listen to my worst show and pick what worked.
Yeah.
Because it held up no matter what, despite all odds. When I get into a good situation, it should really rock it out.
Right.
And it's a good show, everything works, and it's kind of hard to tell what's, what needs work if the crowd's hot and they're laughing at everything. You can't hardly learn anything from those kind of crowds anyway.
How did you? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How do you go back when you listen to it? Do you have like a system where you rate it? How long the laugh is, or how do you rate it? Do you rate it like ABC? Do you give it?
There's a few things that I do depending on where I'm at and what I've got access to. But one thing I always do is I hit the stopwatch thing on my iPhone, and I forget what they call it. I think it's called lap, where you press it. The lap part, LAP.
Yep.
And so I'll just listen, and every time I get a laugh, I'll push it, and at the end I'll go back and see, like, sometimes I'll see, there was 35 seconds between laughs. What was that setup? Must have been forever, and I'll look at it and go, oh yeah, there was 2 extra sentences I never say. For some reason they just popped out that night. Got to cut that out. But I'll go. It isn't always 7 or 8 laughs per minute, but that's what I'm shooting for.
Right.
So if I see there's a big long chunk where there's not, that's one thing I'll go back and rewrite.
Okay.
You can do the same thing with only hitting the lap for the big laughs, not just the little laughs, but just the big ones. And sometimes I'll see, oh man, it's like 90 seconds between big laughs. I need to tighten the stuff up or punch up the stuff in between. I'll do that. I get any set that I'm going to review, I have transcribed. Have I told you about the Otter app? OTTER?
I think I've heard of it, or probably from your podcast, maybe.
Yeah, it's. So I'll record the set on my phone or whatever I have, and then if it's on my phone, I'll pull up the Otter app on my computer and just play it from my phone, and it'll transcribe it fairly accurately enough that you can see what's going down.
Yeah.
And it even puts in little time codes in there so you see what part you're at. And I can, as I'm doing that, I can also be, I've got 3 old phones, so I've got a lot of phones. But I'll take my oldest iPhone and be doing the lap thing on that. So I'm watching it, it's transcribing it, I've got the lap. Then when it's all done, I can look at it really clearly and see where the gaps were. That's the main thing I'm looking for at first is where's the gap, and then because of the gap, it's probably why I didn't get the stronger laugh. So how can I tighten that gap up? Just get to it quicker.
I have that Steve Roy thing, whatever, with where you can like the laugh thing, whatever. Of course, I'm not quite sure how to read it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I know somebody told me they have something where it like listens to it for you or something.
Well, when you have the lap, you hit down, you press the whatever, the laugh, you put your finger over the whatever, and it will record how long your laugh is, and then it will like track everything. So
I got you. That sounds like a good way to.
that gives you a score,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on, but I have to figure out how to read the whole thing. So.
Yeah. Well, that'll work.
Yeah. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'm definitely like, it's driving me crazy. Like I just want more stage time. I want, you know,
Yeah.
I want to get out there more.
Well, yeah, all your stuff is written pretty tight. Like every time you send me something or I listen to you, it's like, man, there's not a lot of extra words to cut out, you know, and it's, I just like how tight it is.
Well, you taught me that.
Well, you're the first one that listened.
No, but that's what you taught me. I mean, that's like, to me, like that's the way you do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? That's how I learned how to do it. So I want to make sure I'm not, you know, and I'm not a storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that isn't my style.
Yeah.
It really isn't. I mean, I have so many, most people, like it seems now, are storytellers.
Yeah. And the other word is lazy, but storytelling is, I mean, it's, especially for the younger alternative comics, if something looks like it's a joke, they're like, oh, that looks like it's a joke. They can tell where the punchline was. But if I'm in the audience, I'm like, thanks for the punchline, you idiot. It took you 10 minutes to get there.
Right.
You know, I think it's more self-indulgent to tell a story than it is to tell a joke. The jokes are for the audience. The stories are for you. Mm-hmm. Until you put enough jokes in the story that it flips over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's all just opinion and personal preference. There's a ton of comics that are telling long-winded stories, and because their audiences have never seen quicker, faster laughs, they don't know any difference. You know, mm-hmm. when they do see somebody like a Jeff Allen or somebody, it's just like pow, 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 pow. Yeah. They're like, "What was that?" Like that's what it used to be.
Rocky Report. Oh my gosh! Like his writing.
Yeah, he's every sentence, isn't he?
Oh, he's like bam, bam, like just. You know, it's unbelievable because I watched them all 4 sets, you know, and it's pretty like identical. You know what I mean? He's just, well, I mean, obviously, like that's all he does, and how many years has he been doing it? It's like incredible, but it's just, I mean, his persona, and you know, his performance, and I wonder, like, how can I improve my performance? Like, what can I do to improve my performance?
How much do you smile when you're up there?
I have been trying to smile more because Leslie had pointed that out to me.
Did she?
Yeah. Or was it, yeah, Leslie or even Bill Gorgo. He said, you're borderline. Well, he said I was a borderline, which, but he didn't say which. You know, he said, but you're right on the end there, you know? And I'm like, that's not how I want to come across, you know?
Yeah.
So I do try to smile more.
Do you move around very much?
I don't. And it's weird because I always thought I'd be like this highly energetic person on stage, you know, because that's kind of how I am. And then when I get on stage, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know what, like I just become like I'm kind of chill, and I'm just like kind of like, you know, and I'm like, what happens to me on stage? It's so weird.
Yeah. I do the same thing sometimes. I mean, I look back at a set and I'm like, I don't think I moved from that one spot the whole time, you know? And that, I guess it's just a conscious thing to kind of gear up before you hit the stage going, I'm going to perform my show tonight, not just tell my jokes. And I know sometimes I get into the habit of just telling my jokes. But it's like, pretend there's 100 cameras on you and it's your HBO special when you go out there, and add some risk to it, you know?
Yeah, I try to, like, you know, I try to move around, talk to you, and then talk. I don't, like, I look around and I try to connect with everybody, and I try to look them in the eyes. It's so funny. People get so uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It's really funny. And that makes me want to look at them even more. Is that wrong?
Yeah,
Um,
no.
especially like when I do my like my kids joke where I um, things that you can say to children that you should never say to adults.
Mm.
And when I talk about the one that she's gained so much weight or whatever, you've gotten so big, I always try to take the thinnest person I can find
Yeah,
to say
yeah,
that to. And I even try to use a male instead of a female,
yeah. That's funny.
because they're just like, did she just call me fat?
Right, right.
Oh, I should have done that to that girl. Anyway.
Yeah, the whole bunch of them.
Yeah, all of you people right there. But no, that was yeah, it's funny how people, but I do try to connect that way, but I'm not as physical as I thought. I thought I'd be like Carrie Pomeroli, you know what I mean? I thought I'd be like physical like that. And I have done a few physical things, but not usually.
Yeah, and I always get, if the crowd is tight, I am less animated, and it should be the opposite. When they're
Yes.
tight, I should pretend they're having a great time until they figure out that they should be,
Yes.
And when they're good, I don't move around that much, and that's just like, I don't need to. But there's some happy medium in there that unless I have a bit that's written where I move out, that's another thing too, is I put those things in some specific bits, and I know you try that too, so that you're directing yourself when you write on how to move in the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything. I mean, the material looks good. I think hearing that the slow start is the thing to focus on.
Okay. Like connecting with the audience, make sure I'm connecting with them. And, I've heard, do you talk to your audience beforehand ever? Or do you?
Oh, a lot of times I'm doing Barney Fife before the event, so I'm talking to everybody.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
does it help or does it hurt? It never hurts unless they don't know who Barney Fife is. Then they think, why? Like, I'll even not do it. Like, if the people are under 50, I always ask, how old is the audience? They're like, oh, they're all 28-year-olds. I'm like, I'm not going to do Barney Fife at all. They're like, you don't can walk around, so they won't even know who he is. And if I do that, and sometimes they've strong armed me into, we have to have that. Our boss loves Barney, and he's the only guy, the boss. They look at me like I'm a balloon twister. Like, why is this guy walking around like a cop? They don't get it at all. I'm like, hey, buddy. They're like, hey, buddy, what's going on with you? So that when I do it that way, my show stinks. My comedy show stinks because they think I'm just like some random $5 act that came off of whatever, like a caricature or something like that, where it's not a. But if they're older, they enjoy that stuff, and so I would never hide from the audience before a show, but my stuff's almost all corporate events, so there's not much place to go hide.
Right, right.
If it's at a theater or something like that, or I'm opening for somebody else, I'll usually stay backstage and just kind of be a surprise when I pop out. They don't know the difference. If they saw me in the audience, they wouldn't know it was me
Right.
before the show anyway.
Right. But do you try to establish any, like relationships ahead of time? Like, oh, hi, how you doing? Or talking to anybody? I've heard like you really shouldn't. I've heard both.
Yeah.
But I've heard like you really shouldn't do that because then when you get on stage, it kind of lessens who you are on stage.
Yeah, and I think that's just comics who don't want to talk to people saying that. And I think it depends on the comic and your natural personality. If you're naturally talkative and outgoing, then you should do that before the show. And if you're not, and it's going to make you feel awkward and maybe make them feel awkward, then I wouldn't. But I think most everybody falls in the middle between the two, just kind of depending on the event. If it's a place where people are, if you got an hour before the show starts or dinners, there's downtime. When they ask you to sit at the head table or stuff like that, I try to sit at the head table and have dinner.
I want to eat in front of everyone.
Yeah, that's the worst. Hey, tell me a joke. Oh, more. Or I just say, if I had to do it, I'm like, hey, I'm the comedian, but I'm not the comedian yet. So I'm just going to have dinner real quick. You guys can pretend I'm not even here, but I had to sit down and eat somewhere and,
Yeah.
try to, just win them over and slam your food down as quick as possible.
Right, right.
But I don't think in the grand scheme of things it matters one difference, you know.
Right, right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just one of those things comics say to Santa, you know. I
Mm.
never sit with the table. Hey, right, whatever. Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Well, sometimes I just like to try to I just like try to clear my head.
Oh yeah, yeah. If there's days where I've traveled really long or whatever to get to a place where it's like at 8 a.m., I do a lot of early morning stuff. I don't want to be sitting at a table for 30 minutes talking to people. I need to be in my quiet space. And the planners always respect that, you know.
Yeah, trying to put my set together or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so definitely try to connect with my audience, maybe even write a few jokes, you know.
I would just look at your schedule and see you know, what places, your upcoming schedule and your past 6 months. Where have you been? Where are you headed?
Okay.
And I would go backwards and write some jokes for the casino in case that comes up again. And even if it doesn't, you'll have
I'm
jokes.
pretty sure that's never going to come up again.
Well, but you know what, Will? A Catholic fundraiser or something like that.
Yeah,
Or a
yeah.
casino night fundraiser.
Yeah.
And then look at what's coming up and see there's opportunities to write some specific things for the type of group or the type of environment they'll have the show in.
Oh, hold on one second. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
Settled. Okay. All right.
And you should work on that destination funeral thing some more.
Okay.
Test that out and just list everything you can think of. And I don't know how much we've talked in the past about not editing while you're writing, but don't edit anything. Just let it all flow out and then come back to it the next day and edit it down. Just get 100% of ideas are okay when you're brainstorming that thing.
Okay. I know. I get like in my head.
You do, because it's left and right brain, so you can't be right brain creative and edit at the same time because it stops the right side of the brain from functioning. So every idea has value and is equal to every idea you have for 30 minutes or however long you're going to write. Even if as you're writing, you're thinking this is stupid, just write this is stupid and keep on going. Come back later on and engage the left side and go, okay, what part of this could actually work? You know what I mean?
So give me an example of what that might look like. So I'm sitting there, I'm writing.
Yeah. And you're writing everything, period. And actually, have you ever heard The Artist Way?
I'm actually doing that. Like the morning pages and stuff.
Yeah. So it's the critic voice is your left side when you're being creative. The critical voice saying, this isn't funny. Somebody's done that before, or this is not even the same idea we started with. All that's in the way of your creative voice saying, this is what I'm thinking right now. And so you just got to keep plugging away every possible idea. And if it goes down rabbit holes, go all the way down the rabbit hole with it and circle back when you've investigated that all the way. Come back to your starting point and just don't even try to, break your eraser off your pencil. It's not even an option. Everything is going down.
Okay.
Every sentence is a potential setup. And if you're starting to erase sentences as you're creating, you're just telling your right side, I'm not going to create anything today. The left side is more powerful and has more value. And it doesn't, especially for us. Not in the creation stage of it.
Okay.
So, I would do...
Right. And then...
Right.
I have a hard time, like, saying, okay, so how do I put this together in a joke? you know, and then I'm like constantly questioning myself, like, is this funny? Is this I don't know, how does this work? Is this funny? I'm like constantly doing that, like, oh, is this a setup? I'm like, I drive myself crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a point for that, but it's not when you're trying to write the joke originally,
Okay.
you know. And this is why it's good to co-write with somebody,
I know.
because they can be the logical side as you're spewing out ideas, and you just stay in that right lane and just keep throwing stuff against the wall, you know. Just and if they laugh really hard and they're being, judgmental, then you probably got something there.
Right.
But if they don't laugh, it doesn't mean you don't. But if you've broken through their wall of trying to edit you and they laugh, then it's probably funny for sure, you know.
Yeah. See, and that's the problem. Like, I really haven't found that. Like, I'm doing a writers group with Mike James and Brian and Gary Thompson and Grace Klein.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're all on. We just started that, but it's just we're doing like the list. So we do like the topic and then we go down,
Mhm.
the list, which is good. But I need to bounce ideas,
Mhm.
and I haven't found somebody who's committed
Mhm.
or who has or who thinks not like I do, but do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's hard to find someone that that I could um, appreciate their input to.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard. I mean, I don't know that I have anybody specifically. Brian Bates and Johnny are physically close, so we'll go once in a while and write some stuff. And
They're both so funny. They're both so creative.
yeah, they're both really good. They're completely different, but they're both
Yeah.
very good. So if something gets a laugh from both of those guys, I know it's probably good.
Right.
You know, but and we don't meet up as often as we should to do that. Both those guys are traveling quite a bit too, but yeah, it's just about staying on the creative side of things. And then I'll send you some more worksheets that I'm working on this the master class thing I'm doing in January. Cause I'm trying to convey the same thing to you that I'm trying to tell them, because they're very logical people that I'll be working with then. So I'm trying to get them to see how to stay in the creative part. So I'll shoot that to you here after.
Okay.
You just kind of look through it. It'll just reinforce what we're saying, but there's, as far as the creative thing, there's some questions to kind of stay in that creative part, to prompt, little prompts to push your point further down. But yeah, I'll shoot that over and see if that helps a little bit.
All right. I'll take whatever, because I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, and here's something I heard the other day that came from a weird source. A guy that writes for Bill Maher, and I can't stand Bill Maher.
Yeah.
But this guy has to write a lot of stuff because it's like a weekly show. And so he said his drive to work's like 25 minutes. So on the day that he's pitching jokes, he'll try to make himself laugh in the car 2 or 3 times. And I heard that, I'm like, that's pretty funny, because anytime I've made myself laugh, the joke worked almost every single time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think to plan time to make myself laugh. In traffic, I'm just waiting for the next person to yell at. Really, I'm just waiting to unleash my anger for the day on somebody. But if I flip that, and I did that a few days after I heard that, just between here and picking the kids up from school or something, like, how can I make myself laugh? And sometimes I just get into a character where I'm doing silly stuff, but it activates that creative side of your brain to have more fun, because it releases endorphins. You're like, I want some more of that. So you stay in that mode longer. And when you're being logical, you're not releasing any of those endorphins at all.
Right.
So it's just kind of training your brain to stay in the lane,
That's good. I notice, like, if I'm in a group, or if a few people, like, I'll start like come out with stuff and I'm like, hold on, I gotta write that down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on my phone. Like, I do that all the time. If I think of something funny, or, a lot of times, like you said, like, if you make yourself laugh, that's the stuff that, the lines that'll work.
Yeah. Those are the best. You just have to find time to do it,
Yeah. It's getting to that point. Like, how do I get there? Coming up with ideas, or, they'll say, write every day. Well, what exactly should you be writing every day?
Mm-hmm.
When someone says write every day. So, I mean, I've tried to come up with like some topics and just write stuff about that, like that, you know.
Well, the other thing I heard, I can never remember what I've said already, but there's somebody says anytime your mood changes through the day, look back at what made it change and write about that, because that's something that got you emotionally charged for a minute at least. And so people can always connect on the emotion of the story before they connect on the premise of the story sometimes. But everybody's felt angry, you know, all those things. So whatever changed your mood that day was either important enough to change your mood, so it's important to write about, or you overreacted, and that's kind of funny because it really didn't warrant the response you gave it. And probably that happens more than the first, right?
Me overreact. So not me.
So, I mean, that's another place to start your writing. And then here's what I've been doing pretty much, I guess, the last 2 years. Once I got the gig with Huckabee, I knew I was going to be there a lot with the same audience. So on Monday for a Friday show, I'll pretend I have no jokes at all. I got no jokes. I've never written any jokes. So it's a completely blank slate. And I'll just start writing stuff that I have to deliver on Friday. So I'm always trying at least 2 minutes out every single time I do the Huckabee thing. And so just having that deadline, like I have to have it by Friday. And on weeks where I don't have the show, I pretend I do and try to write as well. So I have a few things to pull from when I do need it. But just pretending you don't already have anything, like you're starting at square one. That's a motivator. And so, and each week isn't markedly different from where you were last week, but this week is probably different from where you were this point last year. So you're probably still telling jokes. I know I am, that I wrote last year, but what's the fresher version of that? Or what's the fresher version of me to be talking about? You know, how do I kind of pull that slack along as I perform, that I don't keep saying jokes that are 20 years old? You know what I mean?
So you just go back in and
I start off with who am I and why am I here? You know, what does the audience need to know about me to trust me for the next 7 minutes? And so sometimes it's, hey, I live right here in Nashville. Isn't it cool? This is going on. You know, it could be, hey, my kid just had a birthday. This is what's going on. Or my anniversary is on Saturday. This is what's going on with me and my wife. And I just try to think of the most recent thing that was interesting that me and my wife went and did. Or, you know, we went to Cleveland to watch a Browns game. So I wrote some jokes about, you know, we could have stayed here and watched an NFL team that sucked, but we decided to go get on an airplane and go to Cleveland, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just like forcing yourself to look at this week or this month or be more current with what you're talking about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're never very extreme premises. They're not anything as creative as the destination funeral, you know, but they're things that should be in your act anyway. Who am I? Why should you be listening to me? You know?
Right. So say I have an idea, like, you know, I mean, one of the things is like I have issues. Like I swear if I ever do like a DVD or CD, it's going to be called I Have Issues, because I totally do. And just when I go out to eat, I know I'm a pain. Like, you know, like I can never sit where they put me. I always have to have a booth. And then I always have to sit like facing towards the door, like I was, you know, in the war or something. I don't know, in the mafia. Like, you know, I always have to sit there. I never can order what's exactly on the menu. Like I wrote a poem, like I did kind of one of those poem things on it, but I want to write a joke about that. Like, but how do I even begin to do that?
Well, I mean, what you did right there was great, is listing out the actual. Yeah. But really quick, we need something that's so crazy nobody else would actually do it. All those things I do as well. I'm like, I agree, right. I agree, but I needed to disagree that I understand, you know, that I could anticipate what you're going to say at least by the third thing. Okay. The first two examples, super short and real, then the third one, crazy. And then the other thing I heard recently that I'm trying to implement, which is helpful here, is the audience doesn't care about you. They care about them in your joke. Right. So how do you know, and you should put yourself in your joke because you're the comic and you did that. And then if I had an audience, either it's the husband or the spouse that is just like you. So that's how you invite them into the conversation. And that's when they'll start doing this or doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are just like that. That, you know, when the hostess sees them coming, they're like, oh gosh, you know, it's her.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of, like you said, like, oh, I do that too, you know, and I think there are, like you said, it's either the husband or the wife, so they'll be able to relate to me. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to.
Yeah, well, if you're setting up a problem, so the punchline is the solution. So what's a creative way of solving that problem for you? Every restaurant should have the option when you walk in for you to tell the seater, I'm going to tell you where I'm going to sit so you don't have to reseat me 3 times. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to make your job easier version of seating people, you know, and you come up with the name and then you walk through it. So then it's a win for the waiter or waitress or whatever they call the seaters. And then it's something funny. People go laugh. I go, we should probably do that next time. See how it goes, you know, give them some kind of solution that's possible. They'd be a little crazy to try it, but it wouldn't be, you know, all that would totally make sense for somebody who was trying to help out, you know?
Yeah.
You can say, you know, we don't need smoking sections, non-smoking sections. We need the fan doesn't blow on me while I'm facing the door, but next to the kitchen, but not too close to the bathroom section. That's where I need to sit. I'm like, man, you just sit at the bar because you got issues.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then the other thing for that is you could set all that up, and then you're going to some place that would never accommodate any of those things, or even have a seater like McDonald's or whatever. Like, ma'am, I'm not even a seater. You know, I'm just sweeping the lobby. This is McDonald's. You know.
Yeah.
So you take it out of the understood location, and then you could apply it at home. Like, I even have this problem at home. So the only place where I could sit is on the with my back to the fence in the backyard, where I can keep an eye on everybody in the house, and it's the only place that I don't hear this. You know.
Right.
So you can explore it 4 or 5 different ways pretty easily, I think.
Okay. That's what I need to get my mind to do, what you just did. Like, I need to think out of the box.
Yeah, just think, put yourself, put the audience in the joke, put the target. So your target there could be you, but really it's the seater. They're the one being affected the most. So once, you know, and that's something too that I don't think enough comics do, is identify the target. Every joke has a target. And if it's not clear to the audience, and they can't figure out what the punchline is. So you can have empathy for the target, in this case, like we're talking about. And sometimes the target isn't a person. If it's wordplay, it's the word that you're playing on. You know, when I hear the word baby proof in the house, I do a whole joke about that, but my baby isn't the target, it's the term. So you can have targets that are innocuous and aren't people and won't get offended, as well as regular people that are targets. And sometimes the target is a generally understood concept. You know, everybody takes this to be true. Like George Carlin was the best at that. Everybody wants to save the planet, save the planet. And he goes, the planet doesn't even need us. The planet was here before us. It's going to be here. Maybe it just created us because it needed plastic. You know, he goes this whole thing, but the concept is what he's making fun of. Not necessarily just the environmentalists, but the concept that we need to save. What an ego do we have that we can save a planet? We last like 100 years, you know. But, you know, as you get going with your material, the brainstorming, you write it all down, and you come back to the joke part, like, what is the target? What am I making fun of here or having fun with? And make that really clear and explore that for a while.
That's good.
Yeah, and I went many years without knowing what the target was. Probably 10 or 15 years. Didn't even register that every punchline had to have a target. But the jokes that didn't work didn't have one. Once I figured it out, I'm like, oh, that's why it doesn't work.
So, like, I could go back and look at my jokes and see who the target is.
That'd be a good exercise, too. I'd go back and every setup, there should be a target. It should be clear. And if it's not, it's probably not clear enough for the audience. So the punchline doesn't land because they don't know what the punchline is mirroring or echoing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And occasionally something won't fit into that. Some things are just funny because they're just weird or whatever. Yeah. You know, so you can't put everything through a formula, but you should look through all of your stuff and see. and just, use a red highlighter or circle it or something just so you know where the target is.
Right. That'll give me, that'll just put me into that mindset
Mm-hmm.
and teach me how to look for it.
Yeah.
That's a good exercise.
Yeah, and that's a left brain exercise. So don't necessarily have to do that when the days you're creating, but later on you look back at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right. So what now? Like, what do I do now? What's my next step?
Right now, if I were you and you had some time, I would jump on that Wheel of Fortune aspect of that destination funeral thing, and I would log on to Google and search funeral terms, funeral everything, and I would look at the Bahamas and research everything there. I would search the top 20 resorts in the world. I was just thinking Club Med. How about Club Dead? But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that would be a thing where I'm just kind of parroting things that are already out there. But then I would do the same thing with Wheel of Fortune. I'd watch an episode of Wheel of Fortune tonight, and just or record one to watch sometime soon. And just some of the phrases that Pat Sajak says, or his mannerisms, or anything that can come into play. And they're always very proud on the Wheel of Fortune that we've got a new thing tonight.
Yeah.
They have the before and after puzzle,
right?
But it could be the here and after puzzle for this thing when they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And if you went down the Wheel of Fortune thing, Pat always interviews the three contestants, and they always say something trivial and meaningless about their life. But in this case, the stakes are raised. I just lost my husband, and I'm really praying and to try to win that destination funeral, or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe the third person, I killed my husband. You did what?
Gosh.
But that would take me the next 45 minutes to an hour at least to flesh out some of those ideas and just stay in the right brain lane the whole time and just.
No, that's the whole thing with me. I just start getting. I guess I get in my left brain.
Yeah, just slap your hand or slap the side of your head when you know you're doing. Like, stay on. Have fun, dummy. Come on, have fun. Just have fun part today.
I know. You know what you should put together is you should put together like a 3-day intensive comedians whatever. Like, so you know what I mean? Like you'd have all these exercises and just
like a writer's camp?
Yeah.
I've thought about it.
And perform and writers and perform like you would perform every night too.
That'd be cool.
So you write during the day and then you perform at night and then, and you limit it to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd do it. That's an investment.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I loved about the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Never stay for the whole challenge or seen all of it, but that is really appealing to have time to write and then see it that night.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that. We had classes and stuff. But
yeah.
That was really cool. Like sitting there, you have a writer's workshop, you bounce ideas maybe if you want to off of each other. And then you go and, you perform.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And the challenge, you're not going to try new material that night because you got the contest, right? So you're doing stuff that you probably know you should be fixing today because of something you heard, but you don't want to risk it. That was what was fun about Dallas this year, I thought, was being able to go do all those open mics at night. It was just
That was fun. It
helped me immensely. I had an idea sitting in my little notes of my phone for, I think it was 8 or 9 months, and they needed somebody to go up in the workshop part that afternoon and try something out with Ross, so I did it.
All right, I was there, yeah.
Yeah, and that thing is crushing. That's like the biggest laugh I've got in my show right now, but I would have never even tried it.
So what did you change? What did you end up doing?
So the way it goes now is I was on a flight to Southwest from Nashville, about a 4-hour flight, and there's one empty seat between me and this older lady at the window. And I'm like, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. And I look at the lady, and I'm thinking, we've got it, So the first person comes down the aisle right before they close the door. This part where the guy comes down the aisle, and it's like, tattoos and nose pierced and a leather jacket and his hair slicked back. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to spend 4 hours sitting next to a youth pastor.
I love that line.
And then, so I say, we might get lucky on this flight 3 different ways, but
Right.
in the show, the people don't get it the first time, which is perfect because I didn't get it. And then the second time, half the crowd gets it, which is great because the other half, then they get it. And at the end, she rings the steward button and says, I'd like to change seats. And I'm like all ghost white. And the steward says, where do you want to move seats to? And she goes, to this middle seat next to that young man. We're going to Vegas.
I love that.
It just gets such a big laugh. And it is a little story, but it moves pretty quick. And there's a couple little release valves in there as I'm telling it. But I never even thought that I would tell that joke ever. I just thought that's kind of racy for me. But it's really, she's the one. It's not me, it's her.
Right.
So, but that was a great thing about Dallas as well. I had 3 sets that night to try it out. And by the third one, I figured it out. The first one was 50-50. Then I came up with a couple of lines walking to the next one. But I also knew that if I didn't do it, all 3, the people that were in that session would get mad at me for not trying it out. You know what I mean? Because they want to see their suggestions too. And I can't remember who gave me what initially on it, but they're pulling for it. They want to see it work. And they'd be mad if I didn't try it. So yeah, some kind of little mini conference like that at camp where you'd have performance in front of an audience as well as your peers.
Yeah. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I would totally do it. Like I would love something like that.
Yeah. It would be nice because we all need like a concentrated couple of days to just focus on this.
Yeah.
If you put one on, I'll come to it too. I do this twice a year for 2 days or 3 days if I can get my hands on it. But yeah, after I do this thing in January, if I learn how to do that correctly, I could put together something like this.
Yeah. Hey, I'd help you do it. I'd do whatever, you needed me to do. Like I would definitely help you do it. I bet I could get people there.
Yeah. No, it'd be fun. It'd be fun for sure.
Anything I could do to help, I would definitely be more than willing. But,
okay.
For selfish reasons, of course.
Well, it could be a free ticket to the whole thing. Who knows?
I don't even care about that. Just I would love to do that, and I just think it's needed. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, because that is exactly what I love. Yeah. I mean, the things that I love about, when we get together, like the challenge, the CCA, it's number one, it's the camaraderie, but it's just being with people who think like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just, anybody that's striving to get better. And I love feedback.
Yeah, I know. I can't get enough of it.
No, that's going to advance me to the next level. Sometimes you don't want to hear like, but
it's always helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're open to it, you can see the value of it, and sometimes the harshest stuff is the most helpful.
I know.
So you need to break that. You need somebody to tell you to break the habit of some things,
Mm-hmm. So, but that would be great because you're not just you're working on it, but then you have the performance and maybe somebody could pick up, well, maybe you should do this when you're on stage,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just think it would be so helpful and I'd love it.
Yeah. It'd be a good combination of the writing and the performing thing to get feedback from your peers. Yeah.
So,
I'll put it on my to-do list.
Planting seeds for Rick Roberts. No, but I mean, think about it. I mean, just all your School of Laughs people, you put something together like that. I mean, they do that stuff all the time with writers
mm-hmm.
for speakers conferences, and there's nothing like that out there.
Yeah. I'll think it over. It's been in the back of my mind for a while, but I'll think it over again. Could be a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Find a good spot for it.
All right. Well, I've taken a gazillion hours of your time.
It's all right. It's fun.
You just let me know. Send me an invoice.
All right. Yeah, I'll send you the Club 52 rate, which is a good deal.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Get on that writing out and let me know how it goes.
All right. Thanks.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.
See you.